Hello and welcome to Connected Voices. I'm your host, Jared VanAllen. We're pleased to have a new episode of Connected Voices beginning today. Joining me in this episode, I have Jennifer Huber. I've known Jennifer for a few years, and Jennifer is a staple in the wireless industry. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to be able to be here and have this conversation with you. It's been a hot minute.
It's been a little while since we've sat down as Ventev with you. So, number one, thank you again. It's always a pleasure to work with you. Jennifer, you've been in the wireless industry for a couple of days now, and I know you've seen a lot of things come and go, a lot of generations of wireless. We're now staring down the barrel of Wi-Fi 7, which is kind of the general context of this discussion.
Yep.
We're expecting ratification from IEEE for Wi-Fi 7 and hopefully before the end of the year. Is that what you're hearing as well?
That's what I'm hearing, but I'm not going to hold my breath because these things, they'll put a date on the calendar and then just walk right past it without acknowledging that it's been passed. So it's going to happen whenever it's going to happen. We're going to see lots of, marketing fluff and people swearing that their stuff is ready, that it's certified or whatever, and they're just not using the verbiage correctly. But that's classic for consumer, prosumer, or even like early enterprise stuff. So your mileage may vary with new bleeding edge hardware. Just saying.
And we've seen that with some of the major manufacturers
of course.
As well, not just the small ones.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
Understood. The Wi-Fi 7 standards, though, kind of portray a pretty big leap in the technology associated and the real actual usable speeds of wireless, right? So we'll talk about that.
It sure does. This is like the biggest advancement that we've seen probably since, I don't know, like 2007, 2006-ish, maybe. It's been a long time since we've had a leap of this magnitude for sure.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's very important to understand that the last time we saw this kind of an influence on the Wi-Fi industry, it also drove a massive change in everything behind that on the local area network and even the WAN side, right? So I'm sure we'll touch more about that.
Yeah. I would liken this to when Cisco in particular was trying to be first to market with I think it was the 1250 model access point, that they made that big modular thing because they weren't sure if N was going to be hardware or software. So they wanted to make sure that their hardware was modular. So if they needed to upgrade to the hardware, they could do that. I think this is going to be something similar to that, where we're sort of certain about what it's going to mean, but we're not entirely sure how it's going to be carried out. So I think some vendors are still sitting on the fence, waiting to make sure that they're actually ready for Wi-Fi 7. So
I think that's what we're seeing as well. Actually ready for Wi-Fi 7. Let's go back to that in just a minute. So we went through Wi-Fi 6. We went through Wi-Fi 6E that was slowed down by the FCC getting their act together, I would say, for automated frequency coordination.
Yes, that took a bit. Yeah. But that's done now. Yeah.
Well, that didn't happen until like March, right?
Yeah. It was right after WLPC. I think it was like 2 days after WLPC was done. The Wireless LAN Professionals Conference.
Yes. Thank you very much for clarifying that
for
us. Because I understand it, but hopefully
not everybody does. Acronyms. There's so many acronyms in the Wi-Fi space. It's kind of absurd sometimes.
It is. Never get bored with acronyms in this industry.
No.
But back to that subject, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E, and now Wi-Fi 7 coming up at us very quickly here. That's actually the fastest transition between generations of wireless in the history of wireless by a long shot.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Now, the last time this happened with wireless N, as you mentioned, I was here too. I'm a young guy, as you can tell, so I was here. And when I watched that happen, what I saw was wireless N access points forcing people to upgrade their PoE forcing them to upgrade the speed of their access or branch
Yep.
switches,
Yep.
their aggregation, their core. And really it impacted the entire stack all the way down to the server